here. Hello, YouTubers and all those who happen to watch. Hope you guys are all doing quite well. Here I have a buddy with me today. He is on YouTube. I will give you guys a link in the description. His name is Max. How you doing, bud?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm doing wonderful and good.
It's like a feel-good feeling right now, like some sort of magical, non-sexual innuendo is going on right now. Like it's like we're watching a movie, and there's like best part happening right now.
Yeah, it's like the colored parts of the Wizard of Oz played over and over again in our heads, like some kind of divine intervention.
As long as it isn't that chick there who played the modern Wizard of Oz there, the one who tried to play the Wicked Witch of the West. I think it was the West. The West? Can't remember.
Yeah, West. West is pretty evil.
Yeah, and she just like they over-exaggerated her a little bit. She didn't really float around like that. She just chilled. But I understand they were trying to appeal to a modern audience, but it didn't work. It was an okay movie. Anyway, I went off topic because I totally pictured her in that outfit naked, and that did not work for me. So okay. A couple of subjects today are going to be really modern. I'm going to mix a little bit of some retro into this, and hopefully we can bang out some interesting topics here that will make some sort of irrelevant, co-relevant, irrelevant. I said relevant 3 million times.
Interrelevant.
Interstellar relevant. So, alright, World of Warcraft accounts at risk, apparently. Blizzard is saying that, hey, check your passwords if you have an email, and you can't get into your set account. Be sure to reset your passwords or set up a petition with a admin through their website to be able to recover your, identity within the game. This is mostly happening with World of Warcraft at the moment, though, so there's really no super-duper alarm with anyone with Battle.net accounts across all games, but it is advisable to be sure to change your passwords and hide your kids, hide your wife. And, I don't know, I mean, I'm not... Someone was telling me that this is some sort of ploy by them to say, oh, well, this is a conspiracy. Nowadays, everything's a goddamn conspiracy with people. I mean, they'll say...
No. And this isn't really anything new, because this kind of stuff's been happening for a while now. Like that, I mean, that's the whole reason why they came out with the authenticators back in what was it, 05, 06?
Yeah, I think it was 06. They developed it once they hit a couple million mark, because I guess they were saying they were sick and tired of always getting these messages saying, "Oh, my account got compromised," even though I mean, that's part of their job as, a video game with online elements. I mean, I got my authenticator for Diablo 3, and ever since then I haven't really seen too many breaches of my account. I mean, granted, I don't even use the game anymore, so it don't matter to me as much. But, I don't know, I mean, this to me is just, everyday occurrences, but just the same, just want to give a heads up for anybody who owns World of Warcraft accounts, hasn't really been checking their emails recently or anything like that. I mean, to me, it's not a big deal, because I don't really play World of Warcraft at all, and yeah.
Now, it's always good to always change your password on a constant basis, because your password's never safe. It's never safe.
Exactly.
So it's always good to do that. Save, a lot, save often.
Keep it safe. I yeah, I agree. Yeah, I felt a little bit of a scratch in my throat myself. So, alright, I have this vibe going on here, and this is something I want to try to pull into this episode or future episodes, is the retro vibes. And it's something that I look back on older games, and whoever else on the show has this, this itch in their side that they kind of look at older games and go, newer games should take lesson or take note of this. And today would be the simple is better than complication in video games, because nowadays you have a lot of controls for video games. I mean, I remember back when Wolfenstein was really just arrow keys and 2 or 3 buttons. Nowadays it's Battlefield 3 with a lot of buttons. Like, you're just slamming your elbow on the keyboard just trying to hit a function, or getting into a car, or whatever. I mean, I understand what they're trying to do to add that variety or that, you know, immersive nature to the, you know, the first person experience, or, you know, World of Warcraft and with these action bars, but I don't know. I mean, I look at other games that come out like indie, or, you know, companies that revisit older titles such as Rayman Origins, or, you know, they keep it simple and it's more successful. I mean,
Exactly, and my viewpoint on it is, if there's too many controls, it's almost not worth playing. Now that doesn't mean every game that has a whole bunch of controls, you know, I'm not gonna play. You know, I'm still gonna play the Call of Duty, you know, Black Ops. I'm still gonna play the Halo. I'm still gonna play, you know, all that. It's just if you're having to literally contort your hands around the controller or the keyboard to do basic functions, you know, that's kind of a turnoff to me, because, you know, gaming's supposed to be relaxing, not some kind of like screwed up backwards, you know, Simon Says game.
twist it, pass it,
Twist it,
fuck it.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's generally like a game of Twister, and it's just not. There's like no spin at all, or no spinner at all. You just straight up doing the buttons and color coordination, just hoping you don't fall over. And it's, I mean, I could see it being, you know, essential in certain shooters such as like Halo, as you said, it's a lot more simpler in controls wise. It just isn't as complicated. It's just straightforward. And it was really more made towards a console shooter, so it feels a lot more relaxing to enjoy. So, I mean, personally, I like you just said as well, that, you know, I can easily find a couple of games here or there that have the complicated controls and they feel fine because of what the proximity of what you're supposed to do. Such, for example, they're talking about bringing out a Steel Battalion kind of game like MechWarrior back to the computers, but they want to make it so it's, you know, have all this diverse control scheme going on, or something like Steel Battalion. And I don't know, my brain would fucking explode trying to use that game. I think I tried it once and I just said, fuck this. I mean, it was an awesome idea, but it was just, I couldn't handle it. I had to rage quit. I just couldn't. Just this massive controller in front of your lap, and you're just like, what the hell am I doing?
Well, you know, and I don't want to drop names, but not everybody can be a Bethesda. I mean, really. I mean, Bethesda seems to have the uncomplicated controller and keyboard scheme down. You know,
Yeah.
everything's like right there, and, you know, finger reach and stuff. But I mean, it's and in some games it's better to have a more complicated, like more button options, because if you look back at older games, and, you know, this isn't a two-player game per se, but going back and looking at like something like Deadly Towers or something like that, where you have to press a button combination to do a simple task because there's not enough buttons to do it, or whatever. That's something that definitely shouldn't happen now.
Yeah, because Deadly Towers, it was sort of a game, I guess, I would say it wasn't very good for most people, but it was also a very misunderstood kind of game too, where it wasn't that great, but it was also pretty decent if you got the hang of it. Like, I've seen people play it, like on live streams or what have you, and they're just enjoying it. They were like, this game's fun, you know? And that's the interesting factor of it. It's like because they understood the game, and it made it more. They said that they felt attuned with it. It's just like Skate, for example. We all know how Skate is. It's you gotta like throw the controller across the room to get a kickflip going.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, there's certain games that could do the complication well. It's just others that can't quite. They try so hard to do this, try to add more extra commands. It just does not. It falls short on its ass. So, you know, hopefully at some point, you know, some engineer of controls out there in the magical world of gaming can sprinkle some magic pixie dust and, you know, somehow think of a formula that's simple and every single developer can think of this and go, that's right, and just pretty much go off with that. I mean, someone's going to say, well, people are using gamepads on the PC. Well, that's generally because most of the games are console to PC ports. That's why, I digress.
Yeah.
So apparently
like Mirror's Edge.
Mirror's Edge, yeah, that game it's really interesting game, but then it just kind of, oh. So apparently the creator of Metal Gear Solid, Kojima, he's saying he wants to remake the original Metal Gear Solid for the next engine that they're developing, which is Fox Engine, like some sort of crazy engine stuff going there. And this is what Game Reactor is reporting. Now, during a roundtable E3 interview, they listened in, and this is apparently what's going to happen. They're trying to take the original Metal Gear Solid. A lot of people love this original game to death, and they want to put from the PlayStation 1 era, of course, and they want to make it so it has a modern day vibe. They want to bring it to a more modern audience. They want to make it feel, like the original game, but bring on next gen consoles. So in better words, Kojima and Konami saying, hey, we're broke, we're just scrounging around for extra ideas at this point. Because, I mean, you got Metal Gear Solid 5 coming out, it actually looks pretty good. And I'm not going to doubt Konami's ability to make soccer games or the football games.
Well, you know what? I have a great idea for Konami and Hideo Kojima. It might be, an idea that's kind of, out there, but I think it could work. Make a game that links the Metal Gear Solid prequels to Metal Gear 1. So you bridge the gap. I mean, I know that's kind of an out there thing, but I mean, some people would kind of like, that security of solid story where the two pieces meet up in the puzzle.
I mean, the PSP games they came out with, and I think Metal Gear Solid 3 was, they tried to gap it, but it wasn't quite, I would say, detailed.
No, and they, I mean, it vaguely tried to, but it really didn't definitively breach it. Like, Peace Walker, for instance, I know for personally me, I thought that was going to, definitely bridge the two gaps, and it didn't go anywhere near that. But that's just my opinion. I seriously would like Konami to produce, a game something like that instead of constantly putting more and more content and building upon the story and like making this huge span of story in between, those two timelines that could just connect them. It's almost becoming a dare I say it, Zelda timeline problem.
Well, yeah, I think with Zelda, it's a clusterfuck at this point. I mean, some of it, they kind of made a book that say, this happened here, this happened this, and this and that. And it's like that they have to use a book to link it. I mean, it isn't, I'm not faulting Nintendo for that, but it's also kind of, I would say, lazy, too. I mean, yeah, they put a lot of work into trying to explain everything in detail in a book, but, I was hoping to actually see this book in a video game. That's what I wanted to see. Want to see with that game too. I mean, with Metal Gear Solid, I kind of like the game at the same time. I'm kind of a stealthy guy. I like these stealth games, but sometimes I kind of just fall off the track when it comes to Metal Gear Solid. I want to go kill something,
Yeah, and that's what kind of confused me about Metal Gear Solid 3, because you're almost demanded to sneak around in the game, but they give you all these weapons to just murder people. I mean, just completely murder people. But you're supposed to be stealthy, and none of these weapons are stealthy except for the tranquilizer guns. And if you're lucky enough, you can get suppressors for your normal firearms.
Yeah, because what Konami's doing at the moment with this said release is they're going to be bringing a third-party developer, which is the folks who worked on the Metal Gear remake, which is Twin Snakes, which I actually like that one. And Silicon Knights, by the way, is the ones also responsible for Two Human and, Eternal Darkness, which that Eternal Darkness, or ED, is considered by many as, one of those cult awesome games. So hopefully they can at least do some justice with this remake for the modern consoles, and we can all look down and say, you know, that was a damn good port, or at least a good revision.
Yeah, they did a really good job on the Twin Snakes. I was actually really surprised that it actually came out for the GameCube, but I was also really surprised at how good of a job they did on updating it and whatnot. And it's just I would like to see something like that kind of an improvement come across onto the new gen consoles or whatever.
Yeah, I agree very much. So it's I mean, Eternal Darkness was a classic by everyone's demand and standard. I mean, and you got Too Human, which was all right, but it wasn't great. But I don't know. Silicon Knights is a very good company. I hope I have my faith in them. I mean, heck, you got Platinum, which was what was it? They're supposedly doing something where they're going to try to bring the first Bayonetta into the modern, or at least the PC or some shit like that, and I guess that fell short and they went flaccid. I don't know what happened there, but I don't know. So
sometimes companies just buckle under the pressure and they don't get, you know, stuff done. You know, like 3D Realms.
Oh, 3D Realms, that made me depressed. I mean, and that,
come on, come on, guys. How long did it take you to get Duke Nukem Forever done?
Well, see, I got a defense for that. It's because we're all playing World of Warcraft, as they said, one of the PC gamers.
Yeah. Danny, you just have all the answers.
I wish. If I had all the answers, I'd solve all the problems. Like, how come there's no more ice in my cup? But, I don't know. The Phantom Pain coming out later on in the future, when it's ready, blah, blah, blah. With the neon lights booming everywhere and the very, very cheesy Michael J. Fox commercials of him drinking a Pepsi and, you know, Michael Jackson going, ooh, drinking his Pepsi within this game. You know, we're going to see, hopefully, some sort of brilliance that can be brought out of the series, too. I mean, I'm looking forward to everything when it comes to Konami, but at the same time, I'm kind of, I would say I'm falling grace from the company slightly. Like, I like Kojima. I like what he does, but then I kind of look at the company and go, you know, they're kind of losing my interest slowly. I mean, Capcom, I just kind of said, fuck this shit and walked away, you know. They abandoned Legends 3, which was going to restore some of my faith. I mean, don't get me wrong, you had Revelations in the 3DS, which was fantastic. But, you know, these two companies were predominant, you know, starving companies. Just said, I'm gonna take my shit and publish it now, and that's what happened. It was like we saw two companies that we loved when we were kids. You know, you had Capcom, which is, you know, Mega Man, and, you know, Bionic Commando. All these great companies, they slowly drift off, and they are losing
the reason why they are making games. And the biggest problem that I have with major companies now is they're wanting to appease both the quote unquote hardcore gamers and the casual gamers, the gamers that don't want to dump, you know, just hundreds of hours into a video game. So they make, I don't want to say watered down games, but they come up a little short on some of their games, as of late, and it kind of puts me off to like Capcom or Konami or even Nintendo.
Yeah, it's generally turning into it's a rush. That's all it is nowadays. It's just a rush. Companies have lost track of what they're doing. You have these, I'm not going to do this whole tinfoil hat mode thing. However, the whole suit thing where they go, okay, we need this game out. There's hype going on. We're paying so much money. We don't want to pump this out anymore because every time this gets commercialized on this said channel, that said channel, it costs us money. So please get that shit out. Lightly brush off some bugs and release the goddamn game. If this was game dev's sim, or that game dev game there, if we were able to look at the chart and how many bugs were left, there's a ton of bugs left because they're rushing the games. There's no passion in the game anymore. I mean, you have these companies such as Capcom, and granted, there's one couple companies still out there who are really pumping out really AAA good titles. You got Red Project, or CD Project Red, blah blah blah. I'm screwing up their name left and right here, but you got these guys who made The Witcher, put out a title that's just really in depth. It sticks to what it wants to do, and it keeps it basic, but at the same time, diverse. I mean, this company's reminding me a lot of how Capcom was. With NES games like DuckTales. DuckTales is a really easy pick up and play game. You just jump, boom, 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 and you beat the game, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't understand why companies can't stop doing that now. Those games aren't that massively hard. I'm not saying they have to make side-scrolling platformers all day, every day, but keep the formula simple, where everybody be attracted to it. The casual gamers will like it. The hardcore gamers will be in depth because it's easy to learn, difficult to master kind of ratio. There you go.
And it's I don't understand the concept of giving the player all the information on how to play the game inside the game, like giving you in-depth tutorials through the entire game. You take a game like, say, Castlevania, and everything in Castlevania is self-explanatory. You learn by doing, and it makes the game fun.
You feel like you achieved something.
I'd go and grab, a phrase from Ego Raptor, but that's basically it. You learn through doing, and that's part of the fun of the game. Whenever you go through, and I'm gonna grab a game out of the ether, but if you take the recent, or I say recent, the 360 Bionic Commando, where it basically just tells you how to do everything in detailed steps. It takes away from the learning curve of the game. It basically makes the player out to be a complete sniveling idiot because they feel that they have to tell you to do things. And it's almost like they're trying their hardest to get the casual gamers and stuff, but they don't have to do that. They can take pages from their own books from many moons ago and just make the game teach you within the game, instead of just having these, in my opinion, annoying tutorials at the beginning of the game where you can't skip them.
Yeah, it's to me like saying, for example, with some sandbox games nowadays don't really teach you too much. You just go, here, you're this guy, and they bring you the premise, and that's why it's really popular, because people feel achieved because they discover these little gaps, these little enclosed environments somewhere. That's what a lot of people enjoy. They actually enjoy the sandboxes because there's just nothing more to it than, you can have the optional storyline mission, which it sort of explains things, but, I've noticed the pattern where, games like GTA, they kind of show, hey, to turn left, press this button, and I'm kind of saying dirt be dirt, but they also leave things in there where you gotta figure it out for yourself. Like, for example, you have these little VCR tapes hidden somewhere in Tony Hawk, and you have to go find those. That's what I liked about gaming, is where you feel like you achieve something. For example, Dark Souls. If today's the day and age of the internet, people can tell you the answers. Games like Yeah, Dark Souls, either you learn how to get past that night, or he's gonna fuck you up
Oh
every
yeah,
time.
oh yeah, you do. I'm playing through it right now for the first time because we all know Max doesn't play modern games all the time. But I'm playing through it right now, and I'm stuck at the first major boss, the two gargoyles, and literally they devastate me. They completely devastate me, and you just got to keep doing it and keep doing it and learn from your mistakes.
Yeah, it's an interesting day and age for gaming, where you have the flops and you have the triumphs, where this innovative idea comes out of a hungry mouth, and then you got these people who have been quite full for some time, and they just don't care anymore, and they throw scraps to anyone who's been loyal to the company ever since. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm going back now, I think, track too deeply into what I was saying before, but, hopefully in the future we can see something good, or see some sort of, something excellent come from more developers out there. But, that's really all the time we have for this said podcast. I'd like to thank Max for taking a step into the realm of my crazy ADD and all that stuff. I hope you...
Hi-oh.
Hi-oh! And hopefully by the time you guys listen to this, he will conquer those two gargoyles, teabag them, and send a letter, or a Dear John letter, to their parents, and tell those gargoyles they can go fuck themselves because he ruled them.
Right in the pooper.
Right in the scrotum. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Take care and touch your goddamn nipples.